She was just trying to get home after a long shift when she found a wounded man in the rain. She saved his life without asking questions. What she didn't know, he was a mafia boss, and in his world, deaths are never forgotten. Now his enemies think she's his weakness, and he's decided to make that lie a truth. The rain hit Maya's windshield like bullets. She gripped the steering wheel tighter, her knuckles white under the flickering streetlights. The digital clock on the dashboard blinked 2:47 a.m. Her feet ached from the double shift. Her uniform smelled like grease and burnt coffee, and all she wanted was to collapse into bed. "Mama," a sleepy voice came from the back seat. Maya glanced in the rearview mirror. Eli's small face was pressed against the car window, his breath fogging the glass. "Go back to sleep, baby. We're almost home." But home was still 15 minutes away, through streets that looked like they belonged in a different, darker city at this hour. Maya had taken the long route tonight, the one that avoided Miller Street where 3 cars had been broken into last week. The wipers scraped across the windshield in a rhythm that almost put her to sleep. Left, right. Left, right. Left. A shadow stumbled into her headlights. Maya's foot slammed the brake. The car screeched, fishtailing slightly on the wet road. Her arm shot out instinctively across the passenger seat, though Eli was buckled safely in the back. "What was that?" Eli's voice pitched higher. "Stay in the car," Maya ordered, her heart hammering. Through the rain-blurred windshield, she could barely make out a figure collapsed half on the sidewalk, half in the alley entrance. For a split second, she thought about driving away. This was exactly the kind of situation her late mother had warned her about. "Mind your business, Maya. You've got a son to think about." But then the figure moved. An arm reached out, fingers clawing at the wet pavement. Maya's hands were already on the door handle.
"Mama, no. Ellie Creed."
"Lock the doors behind me. Do not get out. If anything happens, you press this button and call 911. She pointed to the emergency call button near the rearview mirror. "You remember how?" Eli nodded, his eyes huge. Maya stepped into the rain. It soaked through her uniform instantly, cold and unforgiving. She approached the figure carefully, her phone already in her hand with 911 typed and ready. The man lay on his side, and even in the dim light, Maya could see the dark stains spreading across his white shirt. Not dirt.
Blood.
"Oh God," she whispered. His eyes flickered open. They were surprisingly clear, surprisingly sharp for someone losing this much blood. Dark eyes that seemed to calculate even in their moment of desperation. "Help me," he rasped. Maya's nursing school training kicked in, the 2 years she'd completed before her father got sick and money got tight. She dropped to her knees beside him, rain streaming down her face. "Where are you hurt?" "Left side." Shot, his voice was rough, accent slight but noticeable. "European, maybe." She pressed her hand against the wound. Warm blood pulsed between her fingers. "I'm calling an ambulance." His hand shot out, gripping her wrist with surprising strength. "No police. You've been shot. You need."
"No."
"Police," his grip tightened. "Promise." Maya stared at him. Everything about this screamed danger. This man, this alley, the desperation in his command. She should run back to her car, drive away, and pretend this never happened. Instead, she heard herself say, "Fine. But I'm calling an ambulance. They'll have to report it eventually." His grip loosened slightly. "Ambulance?" "Yes." Maya pulled off her cardigan and pressed it against the wound, using her body weight to apply pressure. With her free hand, she dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? "I need an ambulance at the corner of 5th and Brennan. Man with a gunshot wound, left side, losing blood fast." The operator's voice remained calm. "Are you in a safe location?" Maya looked around the deserted street. "I don't know. Police are being dispatched." The man's eyes shot open. "No," he mouthed. "Just the ambulance, please." I'm a nurse," the lie came easily. "I can keep him stable." After getting instructions to maintain pressure and keep him conscious, Maya hung up. She looked down at the stranger. Up close, despite the pallor of blood loss, she could see he was younger than she'd first thought. Maybe late 30s. Well-groomed despite the circumstances. Expensive watch. Clothes that probably cost more than her monthly rent. "What's your name?" she asked, partly to keep him talking, partly because she needed to know who she was risking her life for. "Adrian," he breathed. "Adrian what?" "Just Adrian," his eyes locked onto hers. "Your son. In the car?" Ice shot through Maya's veins. "Don't you dare." Protecting him. "Smart," he coughed, and blood flecked his lips. "Good mother."
Don't talk.
"Save your strength." But Adrian's eyes had shifted past her, widening slightly. "They're coming back." Maya's head whipped around. Two sets of headlights appeared at the far end of the street, moving slowly, deliberately. "They're looking for me," Adrian said. "You need to go. I'm not leaving you to die. They'll kill you too. Then you better hope that ambulance gets here fast." Something flickered in Adrian's eyes. Surprise, maybe respect. His hand found hers where it pressed against his wound. "Why are you doing this?" Maya thought about her father, bleeding out in a factory accident while co-workers stood around afraid of lawsuits. She thought about being 17 and holding his hand in the hospital while he apologized for not leaving her more. "Because someone should," she said simply. The headlights grew closer. Maya could hear Eli crying in the car now, and her heart was tearing in two directions. But her hands stayed firm on the wound. Adrian's grip tightened on her hand. "My name is Adrian Volkov. Remember it. When they ask, remember." "They who?" But his eyes had closed. In the distance, a siren wailed. The approaching cars suddenly accelerated, engines roaring, then veered down a side street and disappeared. The ambulance arrived in a screech of wet brakes. Paramedics rushed out, and Maya found herself pushed aside, her hands stained red, her whole body shaking. "Ma'am, are you injured?" a paramedic asked.
No, I'm fine.
"Please, just save him." They worked fast, loading Adrian onto a stretcher. One paramedic turned to her. "You probably saved his life." That pressure kept him from bleeding out. Maya nodded numbly, watching them load Adrian into the ambulance. Just before they closed the doors, his eyes opened one more time, finding hers across the rain and the chaos. Then he was gone, sirens screaming into the night. Maya stumbled back to her car. Eli had unlocked the door and threw himself at her the moment she opened it. "Mama, you're covered in blood." "It's okay, baby. It's not mine. That man is going to be okay." But as she drove home through streets that suddenly felt full of watching eyes, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that nothing was going to be okay. She had no idea that the man she'd just saved was the most dangerous person in the city. And she had no idea that he never forgot a debt. Maya didn't sleep that night. She sat at her kitchen table scrubbing dried blood from under her fingernails while Eli finally slept in the next room. The apartment felt too quiet, too exposed. Every car that passed outside made her flinch. By 6 a.m., she'd convinced herself she'd overreacted. It was just a shooting. Terrible, yes, but this was the city. These things happened. Then she opened her phone. Breaking, gang violence erupts in Warehouse District. 3 dead, 1 critical. Her coffee mug stopped halfway to her lips. The article showed police tape, shell casings, and a warehouse she recognized. Only 4 blocks from where she'd found Adrian. The piece was frustratingly vague. No names. No suspects. Just speculation about organized crime and territorial disputes. Maya's stomach twisted. Organized crime. Adrian's expensive watch. His no police demand. What had she walked into? "Mama, I'm hungry." Eli shuffled out in his dinosaur pajamas, rubbing his eyes. Maya forced a smile and closed her phone. Pancakes. The diner shift that afternoon felt surreal. Maya moved through the motions, pouring coffee, taking orders, wiping down tables, while her mind replayed the previous night on loop. Adrian's dark eyes. His iron grip. "They're coming back." She was refilling ketchup bottles when the bell above the door chimed. Two men walked in. Not regular customers. Maya knew regulars. These men wore suits that didn't quite fit the greasy spoon atmosphere. One was older, silver-haired, with a face like weathered stone. The other was younger, built like he spent his life in a gym. They chose the corner booth, the one where you could see both the entrance and the back exit. Maya's coworker Jenny started toward them, but Maya intercepted. "I've got it." She approached with her notepad, professional smile fixed in place. "What can I get you, gentlemen?" The older man looked up. His eyes were cold, assessing. "Coffee."
Black.
"And information." Maya's pen stilled on the pad. "We've got eggs, burgers, pie." "There was an incident last night." Corner of 5th and Brennan, he leaned back, watching her face. "Around 3 a.m. You work late shifts here, don't you?" Her heart hammered, but her face stayed neutral. Years of dealing with handsy customers and demanding managers had taught her to mask fear. "I get off at 2. I go straight home." "Straight home," the younger man repeated, like he was tasting the words for lies. "That's right. Look, I don't know anything about any incident." Maya kept her voice level. "You want that coffee or not?" The older man's lips curved in something that wasn't quite a smile. "Coffee. Thank you." Maya walked away on legs that felt like water. She poured 2 coffees with shaking hands, spilling drops on the counter. "You okay?" Jenny whispered. "Those guys give me the creeps." "I'm fine." Maya delivered the coffees, left the check, and stayed as far from that booth as possible for the rest of her shift. The men left an hour later without eating, leaving a $100 bill for 2 coffees. Across the city, in a private wing of St. Catherine's Hospital, Adrian Volkov opened his eyes. The room came into focus slowly. White ceiling, beeping monitors, the chemical smell of antiseptic. His left side burned like fire, but he was alive. Unexpected. More unexpected was the face looming over him. Victor, his head of security, looked like he'd aged 5 years overnight. "Boss," Victor's voice cracked with relief. "The doctors said you shouldn't be conscious yet." Adrian's throat felt like sandpaper. The woman. Who was she?
Victor blinked.
Woman. The one who stopped the bleeding. Dark hair, late 20s. She had a child in her car. Adrian's memory was sharp despite the blood loss. He could still feel her hands pressed against his wound, hear her voice on the phone.
Steady.
Unafraid. Because someone should. "We pulled traffic cameras," Victor said carefully. A 2012 Honda Civic. Registered to Maya Alvarez. Age 28. Single mother. Works at Ruby's Diner on Morningside. No criminal record. No connections to any families, ours or otherwise. Debts. Student loans. Medical bills from her father's treatment 3 years ago. Nothing unusual. Adrian processed this, his mind already working through the implications. A civilian. Completely random. She'd risked her life for a stranger bleeding in the rain, with her child watching. In his world, such people didn't exist. "The Kozlov brothers?" he asked. Victor's jaw tightened. 2 dead. Ivan escaped. He's the one who shot you. He'll come back to finish it. We've tripled security. Every exit is watched. You're safe here. Adrian laughed, then winced as pain shot through his side. "I'm not worried about me, Victor. That woman saved my life in front of witnesses. If the Kozlovs find out." Understanding dawned on Victor's face. "They'll think she's connected to you. Put a protection detail on her. Invisible. She can't know." "Already done. 2 of our best." Adrian relaxed slightly. In the brutal calculus of his world, debts were sacred. Honor, loyalty, and obligation, these were the currencies that mattered. Maya Alvarez had given him something priceless, without asking for anything in return. That made her either incredibly naive or incredibly dangerous to herself. "I want to know everything about her," Adrian said. "Her routine, her son's school, her finances. Everything." "You're planning to approach her?" "I'm planning to make sure she stays alive." Adrian stared at the ceiling, remembering her eyes in the rain. Determined.
Fierce.
And Victor? The men who questioned her at the diner. Pull them back. She's smart. She'll run if we push too hard. Understood. After Victor left, Adrian lay in the darkness, listening to the steady beep of his heart monitor.
Alive.
Because a woman he'd never met decided one stranger's life was worth saving. In his 38 years, Adrian had learned that everyone wanted something. Power, money, protection, revenge. But Maya Alvarez had walked away without asking for a single thing. That intrigued him more than it should have. Outside Maya's apartment building, a black SUV sat parked in the shadows. Inside, two of Adrian's men watched the lit window on the third floor where a woman moved around a small kitchen, making dinner for her son. Neither she nor they knew that her act of kindness had just made her the most protected and most endangered person in the city. 2 days later, Maya convinced herself she was being paranoid.
No more suited men.
No strange cars. Just the usual chaos of single motherhood, packing lunches, arguing about homework, negotiating bedtimes. Life moved forward because it had to. Saturday afternoon found her at Riverside Park with Eli, who'd been bouncing off the walls all morning. The playground was crowded with weekend families, and the normalcy of it soothed something tight in Maya's chest. "Mama, watch." Eli called from the monkey bars. "I'm watching, baby. Be careful." She settled onto a bench, phone in hand, scrolling through job listings. The diner tips weren't enough anymore. Eli needed new shoes. The car was making that sound again. And her landlord had started making noises about raising rent. "Mind if I sit?" Maya looked up. A man stood beside the bench, tall, dark-haired, wearing jeans and a plain black shirt that somehow looked expensive. Sunglasses hid his eyes despite the cloudy weather. Something about him felt familiar, but she couldn't place it. "It's a public park," she said carefully. He sat at the far end of the bench, leaving plenty of space between them. For a few minutes, neither spoke. He seemed content to watch the children play, though Maya caught him glancing in Eli's direction more than once. Her protective instincts flared. "Can I help you with something?" He turned toward her, and even through the sunglasses, she felt the weight of his attention. "I'm here on behalf of someone. Someone who wants to thank you." Maya's blood ran cold. "I don't know what you're talking about." The night before last. 5th and Brennan. Around 3 a.m., his voice was smooth, accented. "You saved a man's life. She should walk away. Grab Eli and leave." Instead, she heard herself ask, "Is he alive?"
Yes.
"Thanks to you." The man leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "He wanted you to know that he's grateful. Very grateful. I didn't do it for thanks." "Which is precisely why you're receiving them." He reached into his pocket. Maya tensed, but he only pulled out a business card. Plain white, no name, just a phone number in elegant script. "If you ever need anything at all, call this number." Maya didn't take the card. "I don't want anything. Tell your friend I'm glad he's okay, but I don't need." "Mr. Adrian. Mr. Adrian." Maya's head whipped around. Eli was running toward them, gap-toothed smile bright. Her heart stopped. The man, no, Adrian, the man she'd saved was sitting right next to her, removed his sunglasses. Those eyes. Dark and sharp. Unmistakable. "I thought that was you." Eli skidded to a stop in front of them, breathless. "You look way better. Are you all fixed?" Adrian's severe expression softened in a way that shocked Maya. "I am. Thanks to your very brave mother." "She's the bravest." Eli agreed. Then, with the brutal honesty of 6-year-olds, "You were super bloody. Like, so much blood. I was scared you were gonna die." Maya's face burned. But Adrian smiled, a real smile that transformed his face. "I was scared too. But your mom didn't let that happen. She's really good at fixing people. She fixed my arm when I fell off my bike, and she fixed our neighbor Mr. Chin when he cut his hand making dumplings and— Eli, honey, go play. Please." Maya's voice was tight. "But—
Now."
Eli pouted but ran back to the playground. The moment he was out of earshot, Maya turned on Adrian. You shouldn't be here. Those men at my work were called off. I apologized for their approach. They were overzealous. Your men. Yes. Maya stood abruptly. I need to go. Adrian stood too, moving with a grace that contradicted the bullet wound he'd taken days ago.
Please.
Just listen. 5 minutes. Why should I? Because you risked your life for mine, and you deserve to know what kind of danger that might have put you in. The words hit like ice water. Maya slowly sat back down. Adrian did the same, keeping that careful distance between them. Those men who shot me, Adrian said quietly, they're part of an organization that doesn't forgive or forget. If they learn a civilian helped me escape, they'll come after me. Maya's voice was flat. And my son. Not if they believe you're under my protection. And what does that mean exactly? Who are you? Adrian was quiet for a long moment. I'm a businessman. Import, export, real estate. But my family has enemies. Dangerous ones. And yes, sometimes that world becomes violent. It was the truth, just not all of it. Maya could hear the careful editing. You're saying I saved a gangster's life. I'm saying you saved a life. The complications are mine, not yours. Adrian's jaw tightened. But I take responsibility for those complications. My men will watch over you and your son. You won't see them, but they'll be there. I don't want. It's not negotiable. His voice hardened, and suddenly Maya saw the man who commanded others. You're in danger because of me. I will protect what I owe. You don't owe me anything. You're wrong about that. They stared at each other. Maya saw determination in his eyes, the kind that didn't bend. Mr. Adrian, Eli's voice again. He was hanging upside down from the monkey bars, waving. Watch this. Adrian waved back. The gesture looked unpracticed, like he wasn't used to interacting with children. But there was something genuine in it. Your son has your courage, Adrian said softly. Don't, Maya's voice cracked. Don't use him to. I'm not, Adrian stood, pocketing his sunglasses. I'm simply observing. You've done well with him. Alone. He placed the business card on the bench between them. The offer stands.
Day or night.
For any reason. I won't call. I hope you're right. Adrian looked at her one more time. But keep the card anyway. He walked away, hands in his pockets. Just another man leaving the playground. Except Maya's hands were shaking, and she couldn't quite catch her breath. She looked at the card. Just a number. No name. No company. She should throw it away. Instead, she slipped it into her wallet. From across the park, in a black SUV she'd never notice, Victor watched through binoculars and spoke into his phone. Boss, she kept the card. Adrian's voice came through, satisfied. Good. Double the security rotation. And Victor? Make sure the Kozlovs know I'm alive. It's time to remind them why they should have made certain. The flowers arrived on Monday. 24 black roses in a crystal vase, delivered to the diner during Maya's lunch shift. No card. No name. Just those dark, velvet petals that seemed to absorb light. Somebody's got a secret admirer, Jenny teased. Maya stared at them, her stomach churning. Black roses. In some cultures, they meant death. She threw them in the dumpster behind the building. That night, walking from the bus stop to her apartment, Maya felt eyes on her. She'd felt it for days now, that prickling awareness of being watched. She told herself it was Adrian's protection, the invisible guards he'd promised. But the man leaning against the lamppost across from her building entrance wasn't invisible at all. He was broad-shouldered, blonde, with a scar cutting through his left eyebrow. When Maya approached, he smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Maya Alvarez. She kept walking. Wrong person. I don't think so. He pushed off the lamppost, matching her pace. You're the Good Samaritan. The one who likes to help bleeding men in alleys. Maya's hand dove into her purse, fingers closing around her pepper spray. I don't know what you're talking about. Adrian Volkov. You saved his life, the man's smile widened. Very touching. Very stupid. They were alone on the street. Most of her neighbors were still at work. The evening hung heavy and gray. Leave me alone. Maya's voice was steady despite her racing heart.
Can't do that.
See, my employer. He's curious. Adrian doesn't usually let civilians get close. Which makes us wonder he stepped closer. What makes you special? I'm not special.
I'm nobody.
Then you won't mind answering a few questions. A car door slammed. Maya's head whipped around. A black sedan had pulled up to the curb, and two more men were getting out. This was it. This was what Adrian had warned her about. Maya ran. She sprinted toward her building, keys already in her hand. Behind her, footsteps pounded. A hand grabbed her shoulder, yanking her backward. Not so fast. The man's grip suddenly released. Maya stumbled, catching herself against the building wall. She spun around. The scarred man was on the ground, a darker shadow standing over him. Two more shadows materialized from nowhere, one intercepting the men from the sedan, the other positioning himself between Maya and the threat. It happened in seconds. Silent, efficient, brutal. Adrian's men moved like ghosts made solid. No guns, just fists and calculated violence. The scarred man tried to fight back, but he was outmatched. Within moments, all three attackers were on the ground, groaning. The shadow closest to Maya turned. She recognized him, Victor, from the diner. Inside. Now, his voice left no room for argument. Maya's legs moved on autopilot. She fumbled with her keys, got the door open, and stumbled into the lobby. Victor followed, speaking rapidly into a phone in a language she didn't understand.
Russian, maybe.
Eli, Maya gasped. My son, he's at aftercare. Already secured. 2 of our people are with him. You have people at his school? Horror and relief crashed together in her chest. We have people everywhere that matters, Victor's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then at her. Boss wants to see you. Tonight. I need to get my son. We'll bring him to you. Safe house. Both of you, until this is resolved.
No.
No, I'm not going into hiding. I have work. Eli has school. Miss Alvarez, Victor's tone gentled slightly. Those men weren't asking questions. They were testing you. Next time, they won't be so polite. Maya's knees went weak. She sank onto the lobby stairs. This is insane.
I just helped someone.
Her voice cracked. I was trying to do the right thing. You did. That's the problem. Victor crouched down to her level. In our world, kindness is currency. And now they think you're valuable to Adrian, which makes you leverage. A weakness they can exploit. I'm not valuable to him. I barely know him. They don't know that. And until they do, Victor stood, offering his hand.
Please.
Let us keep you safe. Maya looked at his hand.
Calloused. Steady.
The hand of someone who'd done terrible things to protect someone else. She thought of Eli, waiting at aftercare with strangers, watching him. She thought of those men on the street, the cold calculation in the scarred man's eyes. She took Victor's hand. 20 minutes later, Maya sat in the back of an armored SUV, Eli buckled beside her, clutching his backpack. 2 cars flanked them, one ahead, one behind. A motorcade for a diner waitress and her 6-year-old. Mama, are we in trouble?
Eli dispered.
No, baby. We're going somewhere safe for a little bit. Because of Mr. Adrian? Yes. Is he in trouble? Maya looked out the window at the city sliding past, every street suddenly full of potential threats. I think we all are. The SUV pulled into an underground garage. More men in dark suits. More watchful eyes. They were escorted to an elevator that required a key card and a fingerprint scan. The doors opened to a penthouse that made Maya's entire apartment look like a closet. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. Leather furniture. Abstract art. The kind of wealth that whispered instead of shouting. And there, standing by the windows with his back to them, was Adrian Volkov. He turned when they entered. His eyes found Maya's first, then dropped to Eli. I'm sorry, he said simply. I underestimated how quickly they would move. Maya's fear crystallized into fury. She stepped forward, leaving Eli with Victor. You used me as bait. Adrian's expression didn't change.
No.
I used myself as bait. You were collateral damage I failed to prevent. Those men were going to. They were going to take you, interrogate you, use you to draw me out. His voice was cold, matter of fact. They won't get another chance. How can you be sure? Adrian smiled, and it was nothing like the smile he'd given Eli at the playground. This was the smile of a man who'd made a decision that would cost lives. Because by tomorrow morning, Ivan Kozlov will have much bigger problems than one civilian woman. Maya stared at him, understanding clicking into place. You're going to start a war. No, Miss Alvarez. Adrian's eyes were dark as the roses that had arrived at her work. I'm going to end one. Maya didn't sleep in the penthouse. She lay awake in the guest room, listening to Eli's soft breathing in the bed beside her, staring at crown molding that probably cost more than her car. Everything smelled expensive, the sheets, the soap, even the air. At dawn, she found Adrian in the kitchen, drinking coffee and reading something on a tablet. He'd rolled up his shirt sleeves, and she could see the edge of bandaging on his left side. How's the wound? She asked. He looked up, surprised.
Healing.
You did good work. I'm not a nurse. I lied to the 911 operator. I know, a ghost of a smile. Victor ran a background check. 2 years of nursing school before he dropped out. To take care of my father. He had staged for lung cancer. Maya poured herself coffee, needing something to do with her hands. He lasted 8 months. The bills lasted 3 years. I'm sorry. Don't be. He was a good man. He taught me how to fix things, how to stay calm when everything's falling apart. She met Adrian's eyes. That's why I stopped that night. Because I remember what it's like when no one does. Something shifted in Adrian's expression. Your father was lucky to have you. Was yours? The question hung in the air. Adrian set down his tablet. My father built an empire on blood and fear. He taught me that power is the only thing that matters. That sentiment is weakness. He paused. He was wrong about many things, but not everything.
No.
Not everything. Adrian stood, moving to the window. The sunrise painted the city in shades of amber and rose. I didn't choose this life, Maya. I inherited it. By the time I was old enough to understand what it meant, I was already too deep to walk away. Everyone has choices. Do they? He turned back to her. I was 12 when I watched my father kill a man who betrayed him. 13 when I fired my first gun. 16 when someone tried to poison me at a family dinner. His voice was flat, reciting facts. You don't choose this world. It chooses you. And then you either survive it or you don't. Maya thought of her own choices. Dropping out of school. Working double shifts. Raising Eli alone after his father decided fatherhood was too much responsibility. I guess we all survive the best we can. The difference is your survival doesn't require anyone else's death. Before Maya could respond, Eli emerged from the bedroom, rubbing his eyes.
Mama?
Where are we? Good morning, sweetheart. Maya opened her arms and Eli stumbled into them. Over his head, she looked at Adrian. We need to talk. About what happens next. Later, Adrian's expression softened as he looked at Eli. First, breakfast. I'm told I make acceptable pancakes. Eli perked up. Really? Really? An hour later, after pancakes that were surprisingly fluffy, Adrian drove them to a cafe across town. Not the penthouse. Not a safe house. Just a normal cafe with chip tables and espresso machine that hissed like a dragon. Why here? Maya asked as they settled into a corner booth. Because you deserve something normal. Even if it's temporary. Adrian ordered 3 hot chocolates from a waitress who barely glanced at him.
No recognition.
No fear. Just another customer. Eli immediately found the cafe's collection of board games and dragged one to the table. Can we play, Mr. Adrian? Eli, Mr. Adrian is busy. I'd like to. Adrian's answer surprised them both. if that's acceptable. So they played Connect 4 while Maya sipped her hot chocolate and tried to process the surreal normalcy of it. A mob boss carefully dropping red checkers while her 6-year-old giggled and trash-talked. You're going down, Mr. Adrian. Am I? Adrian studied the board with the same intensity he probably used for business deals. We'll see about that. He let Eli win. Maya caught the moment he set up his own loss, placing a checker that opened Eli's winning move. Her son celebrated like he'd conquered the world. You're good with him, Maya said quietly while Eli reset the board. I like him. He's honest.
Brave.
Reminds me of someone. Adrian's eyes met hers. Don't.
Don't what?
Don't make this more than it is. You're protecting an obligation. Once your war is over, we go back to our lives and you go back to yours. Is that what you want? The question felt dangerous. Maya looked at her son, at this man who should terrify her but instead made pancakes and lost board games with grace. What I want doesn't matter. You said it yourself, you didn't choose this life. But I can choose mine. And I won't let Eli grow up in a world of guns and bodyguards and… She stopped. A man had entered the cafe. Older, gray-haired, wearing a jacket despite the warm day. His eyes swept the room and landed on their table. Adrian's posture changed. Subtle, but Maya felt it.
Danger. Victor.
3 o'clock, Adrian spoke into his collar mic. Suddenly the cafe wasn't normal anymore. Maya noticed the 2 men by the counter who weren't drinking coffee. The woman by the window who was watching the street too carefully. Adrian's people, positioned before they'd even arrived. The gray-haired man approached their table, hands visible, empty. Adrian Volkov. Didn't expect to see you in public so soon. Dmitri, Adrian's voice was ice. You have 30 seconds. Ivan Kozlov wants to negotiate. He knows he made a mistake. He made several. He's willing to offer compensation. Territory. Money. Whatever you want. Adrian glanced at Eli, who was watching with wide eyes, then back to Dmitri. What I want is his head on a pike. But I'll settle for his operations dismantled and him out of my city by Friday. You're asking for a war.
No.
I'm offering mercy. The war was decided the moment he pulled the trigger. Adrian stood, positioning himself between the man and Maya's family. Friday. Or I take everything. Dimitri's jaw clenched.
He looked at Maya, at Eli.
This is what you're fighting for? A waitress and her kid. This is what I'm protecting. There's a difference. Adrian's hand moved to his side, where Maya knew a gun was holstered. We're done here. Dimitri left. The cafe breathed again.
Eli took at Maya's sleeve.
Mama, I don't like that man. Me neither, baby. Maya looked at Adrian, seeing the truth clearly now. You knew they'd find us here. This whole thing, breakfast, the cafe, it was a message. Adrian didn't deny it. Multiple messages. To the Kozlovs, I'm not hiding. To my people, I'm in control. And to you, he hesitated. To you, I wanted to show that I can give you normal, even if just for an hour. By using my son as a prop in your power play, the words hit like a slap. Adrian's expression closed off. That wasn't I wouldn't. But Maya was already standing, pulling Eli with her. Take us back. To the penthouse, a safe house, wherever. But no more cafes. No more games. We're not part of your world, Adrian. We're just people you need to keep alive until this is over. She walked out, Eli's hand in hers, leaving Adrian standing alone in a cafe that suddenly felt very empty. Victor appeared at his side. Boss. Let them go. Back to the penthouse. Adrian stared at the door where Maya had disappeared. And Victor?
She's right.
This ends Friday. One way or another. Wednesday night. 2 days before Adrian's deadline. Maya had convinced Victor to let her pick Eli up from his friend's apartment. Just this once. Just for an hour of normal. The bodyguards could follow at a distance, but she needed to pretend her life wasn't a cage. You have your phone? Panic button. Victor had asked. Yes, Dad. The sarcasm earned her a rare smile. The apartment building's parking garage was nearly empty at 8 p.m. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting everything in sickly yellow. Maya held Eli's hand as they walked toward the stairwell, their footsteps echoing. "Did you have fun at Jackson's?" Maya asked. "Yeah. We built this huge Lego spaceship and Mama, what's that?" A black van blocked the stairwell entrance. Its side door hung open like a mouth. Maya's blood turned to ice. "Run." She spun around, pulling Eli, but 3 men had materialized behind them. One was the scarred man from before, his face now decorated with fresh bruises from Adrian's men. "Going somewhere?" He smiled. "We've been waiting." Maya pushed Eli behind her, her hand up for her phone, but Scarface was faster. He knocked it from her grip, and it skittered across the concrete. "Scream and the kid gets hurt first," another man said casually. He was holding a gun. Maya's mind raced. 3 men. 1 gun she could see. Eli trembling against her back. The panic button was on her phone, 6 feet away and surrounded by enemies. "What do you want?" In the van. "Both of you." "Ivan has questions about your boyfriend."
He's not my boyfriend.
"I barely know him." "Then this'll be quick." Scarface grabbed her arm. Maya moved on instinct. Her father had taught her to fight dirty when cornered. She drove her elbow into Scarface's throat, twisted and ran, not away from the phone, but toward it. She snatched it up, stabbed the panic button, then threw the phone at the gunman's face. It bought her 3 seconds. Eli car. Under. She shoved her son toward a nearby vehicle. Gunfire cracked through the garage. The bullet sparked off concrete where Maya had been standing. She dove, rolling behind a support column.
Her ears rang.
Eli was crying under a car 20 feet away. "Stupid bitch." Scarface roared. "Get the kid."
No.
Maya grabbed a piece of broken concrete and hurled it. It caught 1 man in the shoulder. Not enough to stop him, but enough to slow him. She ran toward Eli low and fast. Another gunshot. Pain seared across her upper arm. Not a direct hit, but close enough. She stumbled but kept moving. "Mama." "Stay down, baby. Don't move." She reached the car, sliding underneath next to Eli. His face was pale, tear-streaked. Maya wrapped herself around him, making her body a shield. It's okay, help is coming." A hand grabbed her ankle and dragged. Maya kicked viciously, connecting with someone's face. Bone crunched. Satisfying. "Enough." The gunman crouched down, pointing his weapon at Eli.
"Out. Now."
"Or I paint this garage with your son's brain." Maya's heart stopped. She locked eyes with Eli. "Close your eyes, baby. Whatever happens, keep them closed." She started to crawl out. Tires screamed. An SUV careened around the corner, headlights blazing. It slammed into the black van with a sound like thunder. Men in tactical gear poured out, moving with military precision. Adrian's men. Gunfire erupted. Maya curled tighter around Eli, his screams muffled against her chest. The garage became a war zone, shouts in Russian, more shots, the wet sound of fists hitting flesh. Then silence. Sudden and complete. "Maya." Victor's voice. "Are you hit?" Maya couldn't move.
Couldn't speak.
Shock had frozen her muscles. Footsteps ran toward them. Strong hands gently pulled her from under the car. Eli still clutched in her arms. Victor's face swam into focus. "You're bleeding. Medic. Now." "Eli," Maya gasped. "Is he?"
"Imoke, manga."
"You're bleeding. You're bleeding so much." Eli was sobbing, his hands pressed against her arm where the bullet had grazed her. Another SUV arrived. Adrian erupted from the passenger seat before it fully stopped. He took in the scene, 3 bodies on the ground, Maya's blood-soaked sleeve, Eli's terrified face. Something inhuman passed across his expression. "Get them to the doctor." Now his voice was quiet.
Deadly.
"Victor, keep one alive. I need answers." "Boss." "I said keep one alive." Adrian knelt beside Maya. His hands were gentle as he examined her arm, but his eyes were pure rage. You're going to be fine. It's superficial. They were going to take Eli, Maya's voice broke. They had a gun on my son.
I know. I'm sorry.
Adrian stopped. Words failed him. Eli suddenly lunged forward, wrapping his arms around Adrian's neck. You saved us. You came. Adrian froze. Slowly, carefully, he embraced the child. Over Eli's shoulder, he looked at Maya.
She saw it then.
The man beneath the monster. The part of him that had played Connect Four and made pancakes. The part that had lost himself so long ago he'd forgotten it existed. And she saw the monster too. The cold fury in his eyes that promise someone would pay for tonight. Pay in blood. Get them out of here, Adrian said to Victor, his arms still around Eli. Take them to the estate. Full lockdown. What about you? Adrian gently released Eli and stood. He shrugged off his jacket and wrapped it around Maya's shoulders. His white shirt was spattered with red, her blood or someone else's. She couldn't tell. I'm going to finish this. Tonight. Not Friday. He looked at the bodies on the ground. The man Victor's team was restraining. They made this personal. They threatened a child. Adrian, Maya started.
You were right.
At the cafe. You and Eli don't belong in this world. His jaw clenched. So, I'm going to remove the threat. Permanently. And then you'll be free. By killing people. By doing what I should have done the moment Ivan pulled that trigger. Adrian turned away. Take care of her, Victor. Maya watched him walk toward the restrained man. His movements were unhurried. Purposeful. The movements of a predator approaching prey.
Mama, I am sad. Eli whispered.
Me too, baby. Maya pulled him close, feeling his heartbeat against hers. Me too. They left the garage before Adrian started asking questions. But Maya heard the first scream as the doors closed behind them. She told herself it was justice. She wasn't sure she believed it. The estate was a fortress disguised as a home. 20 miles outside the city, surrounded by walls and guards and surveillance that Maya tried not to think about. The doctor had cleaned and bandaged her arm, given her painkillers she refused to take. She needed a clear head. Eli had finally fallen asleep around midnight, exhausted from terror. Maya sat beside his bed in the guest room, watching his chest rise and fall. Proof he was alive. Safe.
For now.
A soft knock on the door. Victor entered, carrying 2 mugs of tea. Thought you might need this. Maya accepted one, grateful. Is it over? Getting there. Bosses. Handling things. Handling. Maya's laugh was bitter. That's one word for it. Victor settled into the chair across from her. You're angry. I'm terrified.
For my son.
For myself. She stopped. For him. Maya sipped her tea instead of answering. It was chamomile.
Sweet.
Normal. Everything her life wasn't anymore. I've worked for Adrian for 12 years, Victor said quietly. I've seen him do terrible things. Things that would make tonight look merciful. He paused. But I've never seen him hesitate before. Never seen him question whether the violence was worth it. What are you saying? That you and your boy?
You've changed something in him.
Something I didn't think could be changed. That doesn't erase what he is.
No.
But it matters. Victor stood. He'll be back before dawn. Probably covered in blood and regret. Maybe give him a chance to explain before you run. After Victor left, Maya moved to the window. The grounds stretched out below, peaceful under moonlight. She could run. Take Eli and disappear. Adrian's money could make it happen. She had no illusions he wouldn't help her vanish if she asked. But would they ever really be safe? Would she spend the rest of her life looking over her shoulder, wondering if Ivan Kozlov had one more man, one more grudge?
Manga.
Maya turned. Eli stood in the doorway, clutching his stuffed dinosaur. Can't sleep, baby? I keep seeing the gun. His voice was small. The man pointing it at me. Maya's heart shattered. She opened her arms, and Eli ran to her. She held him tight, breathing in his little boy's smell of shampoo and fierce sweat. "I'm so sorry, Eli. I'm so sorry you had to see that. It's not your fault." "Those were bad men." Eli pulled back, looking up at her with eyes too old for six. But Mr. Adrian stopped them. "He saved us." "I know. Do you like him, Mama?" The question caught her off guard. "What?" "Mr. Adrian. Do you like him?" "He likes you. I can tell." Eli's expression turned serious. "And he makes you smile. You don't smile much anymore." Maya didn't know what to say to that. Didn't know how to explain that she was attracted to a man who killed people. That his gentleness with Eli made her chest ache. That she was terrified of what it meant that she didn't want to run anymore. "It's complicated, sweetheart. Grown-ups always say that when they don't want to answer." Eli yawned. "I like him. He's scary sometimes, but he's nice to us. And he makes good pancakes." "That he does." Maya carried Eli back to bed, tucking him in. By the time she finished, he was already half asleep. "Mama, if Mr. Adrian makes the bad men go away, can we stay with him a little longer? This house has a pool." Maya kissed his forehead. "We'll see, baby." But Eli was already asleep. Adrian returned at 4 a.m. Maya heard the cars, the quiet voices, the shower running in the master suite. She waited in the kitchen, making coffee she didn't want. He appeared an hour later, hair damp, wearing clean clothes. But his hands had scrapes across the knuckles, and his left eye was swelling into a bruise. "You look terrible," Maya said. "You should see the other guys." "Oh wait, you can't. Because they don't exist anymore." Adrian poured himself coffee. "Ivan Kozlov is dead. His organization is scattered. The ones who aren't dead are running." Just like that. Just like that, he leaned against the counter, exhaustion evident in every line of his body. "It's over, Maya. You're safe. Eli's safe. You can go home." Home. The word felt strange. To my apartment? My job at the diner? Pretend none of this happened. If that's what you want. And if it's not. The words escaped before Maya could stop them. Adrian's eyes snapped to hers. "What?" Maya set down her mug. "I'm not stupid. I know what you are. What you do. I watched you walk toward that man in the garage, and I knew what was going to happen." She stepped closer. "And part of me was glad. Part of me wanted you to hurt him for threatening my son." "Maya, let me finish." Her voice shook. "You've killed people. Maybe dozens. Maybe more. You run a criminal empire. You're dangerous and violent, and everything I should run from. You should. But you also played Connect Four with my son. You made him feel safe when he was terrified. You put yourself between us and danger without hesitation." Maya's eyes burned with unshed tears. "And Eli asked me tonight if I like you. And I realized I don't know how to answer. Because I should hate you. But I don't." Adrian stood frozen. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I don't want to run. I don't want to pretend this didn't happen. But I also won't, let Eli grow up in a world of violence." She met his gaze. "So you need to decide. Do you want us in your life? Really in it? Because if you do, things have to change." "Change how?" "I don't know yet. But no more using us for power plays. No more putting Eli in danger to prove a point. If we stay, it's not as leverage or props. It's as..." She struggled for the word. "Family?" Adrian's voice was rough. The word hung between them. Fragile.
Impossible.
Terrifying. "I don't know if that's possible," Maya whispered. Adrian moved closer, stopping just short of touching her. 3 months ago, I would have said no. That men like me don't get families. Don't deserve them. He looked toward the hallway where Eli slept. "But your son hugged me tonight. After watching me become a monster. And you're standing here asking me to be better. Not for my sake. For his. Can you?" "I don't know." His honesty was brutal. "But I want to try. For the first time in 20 years, I want to be someone different than what I was made to be." Maya's hand found his. His knuckles were raw, probably from breaking someone's face. But his grip was gentle. "Then we'll figure it out," she said. one day at a time. Together. Adrian pulled her close, his forehead resting against hers. I don't deserve this. Either of you. Probably not, Maya smiled despite everything. But Eli says you make good pancakes. So you've got that going for you. For the first time since she'd met him, Adrian laughed. Really laughed. It sounded rusty, like something he'd forgotten how to do. Outside, dawn broke over the estate. A new day. A new chance. Neither of them knew if it would work, but for the first time they both wanted to try. 3 weeks later, Maya learned that peace in Adrian's world was never permanent. She woke to gunfire at 2 a.m. Eli under the bed. Now, she was already moving, muscle memory from too many drills Victor had insisted on. Her son scrambled to safety without question. Adrian burst through the door, gun drawn, still in the clothes he'd worn to a late meeting. South wall breach. 6 men, maybe more. Kozlov's people? But Ivan was dead. Adrian had made sure. His brother. From Moscow, Adrian's jaw clenched. I should have anticipated. Later. What do we do? He looked at her, and she saw fear there. Not for himself.
For them.
Safe room. Victor knows the protocol. What about you? I'm ending this.
Tonight.
Permanently, he moved to the closet, pulling out a vest and securing it. Victor will get you and Eli out if. Don't. Maya grabbed his arm. Don't you dare finish that sentence. Their eyes met. In 3 weeks, something had grown between them. Not quite love, not yet. But something real. Something worth protecting. Come back, she said simply. Adrian kissed her forehead. I promise. Then he was gone, and Maya was pulling Eli from under the bed, running for the panic room Victor had shown her. The safe room was hidden behind a bookshelf in Adrian's study, steel-reinforced, stocked with supplies, a direct line to law enforcement if everything went wrong. But halfway down the hall, an explosion rocked the house. Maya stumbled, pulling Eli against the wall. Smoke billowed from somewhere below. Mama, I'm scared. I know, baby. We're almost. A man appeared at the end of the hallway. Not one of Adrian's. His gun rose. Maya remembered her father's words. In an emergency, improvise. Use what you have. She grabbed a decorative vase from a side table and hurled it. It shattered against the man's head, buying her seconds. She grabbed Eli and ran the opposite direction, toward the servants' stairs her father had taught her to always know existed. They reached the kitchen. Victor was there, barricading the service entrance with 2 other guards. Maya. Thank God, Victor saw her bleeding arm. She'd caught shrapnel from the explosion. Safe room. Go. There's a man in the north hallway. Taken care of. Go. But the French doors exploded inward. More men poured through. Victor returned fire, and Maya dove behind the kitchen island, covering Eli with her body. This was it.
This was how they die.
Then she saw it. The old dumbwaiter shaft her father would have called an escape route in disguise during her first week here. She'd noticed it led down to the wine cellar, which had a tunnel to the groundskeeper's cottage. Victor, cover us. She didn't wait for confirmation. She opened the dumbwaiter, pushed Eli inside. Climb down. There's a ladder. Go to the bottom and wait for me. Mama. Now, Eli. He climbed. Maya followed, pulling the door shut as bullets splintered the wood above her head. The shaft was dark, cramped. Eli's breathing echoed below her. They reached the bottom. The wine cellar was quiet, untouched by the chaos above. Maya found the tunnel entrance behind a rack of vintage bottles, exactly where the estate blueprints Victor had shown her said it would be. This way, baby. Quiet. They crawled through the tunnel. Above them, muffled gunfire continued. Maya counted footsteps, keeping Eli calm with whispered reassurances she didn't believe. The cottage was empty. Maya found a phone, dialed Victor's emergency line. It's Maya. We're in the cottage. Stay there. Don't move. Adrian's finishing this. Through the cottage window, Maya watched the main house. Fire bloomed from one wing. figures moved in the darkness. She couldn't tell who was winning. Then silence. Terrible, complete silence. Eli pressed against her. Is Mr. Adrian okay? I don't know, sweetheart. The cottage door opened. Maya spun, grabbed a fireplace poker. Adrian stood there.
Alive.
Blood splattered, but alive. Behind him, Victor and 3 other men. It's over, Adrian said. His voice was hollow.
For real this time.
The Kozlov bloodline ends tonight. Eli broke free and ran to him. Adrian caught him, holding tight despite his injuries. You came back, Eli said. I promised your mother I would. Adrian's eyes found Maya's. I keep my promises. 2 months later, Maya stood outside Eli's new school, watching her son race toward her with a painting clutched in his hands. Mama, look what I made. It's our family. The painting showed 3 stick figures, 1 small, 1 medium, 1 tall. A house with too many windows. A dog they didn't have yet, but Eli desperately wanted. It's beautiful, baby. A car pulled up. Not an armored SUV. Just a regular sedan. Adrian stepped out, wearing jeans and a sweater. He'd stepped back from day-to-day operations, leaving Victor in charge while he figured out what a legitimate business empire looked like. It was slow. Imperfect. Some days Maya wondered if they were making a mistake. But then Adrian knelt down to admire Eli's painting, and her son's face lit up like sunrise, and she thought maybe this could work. Ready for dinner? Adrian asked. Pizza night.
Eli repeated.
They walked together, not quite a family, not in the traditional sense, but something real. Something they were building day by day, choice by choice. Adrian's hand found Maya's. She squeezed back. You okay? He asked quietly. Maya thought about the bullet graze on her arm, the nightmares Eli still had sometimes, the way she jumped at loud noises. But she also thought about Eli's laughter, Adrian's slow smiles, the life they were carefully constructing from the wreckage of that rainy night. I'm getting there, she said honestly. We both are. That's all I can ask. At the crosswalk, Eli grabbed both their hands, swinging between them. A man in a suit watched from across the street, one of Victor's men, still keeping watch. Maybe they'd always need that. Maybe danger would always be one wrong move away. But for now, they had this. A Tuesday evening. Pizza night. A little boy's laughter. Maya had risked her life to save a dying stranger in the rain. She'd had no idea that choice would lead here, to this complicated, dangerous, beautiful thing they were building together. Adrian looked at her over Eli's head. Thank you, he mouthed. For saving him? For staying? For believing he could be more than what he was made to be. Maybe all 3. Maya smiled. Thank you for the pancakes. Adrian laughed, that rusty sound that came easier now. Eli laughed too, not understanding the joke, but caught up in the joy. They crossed the street together, 3 people learning how to be a family. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't safe. But it was real. And sometimes, real was enough.